Hello everybody, it's Debbie with Cool Cats Art, and today I'm working on another bloom. This is a 12-inch round wooden canvas. I'm using up some leftover paints from my previous pour, and I added a couple more to that. So let's go over my paints real quick. My pillow paint is going to be a Glidden product. I'll list the exact can in the description below. My colors, well, a lot of them are some mixed colors, so we'll go over them briefly. This is my homemade Nickel Azo Gold. It's a combination of Burnt Sienna with a little bit of orange. Then I'm using a Florescent Orange. Doesn't look very orange, looks more coral because I didn't put a whole lot of paint in there with it. I'm using a Florescent Pink, which is one of my favorite colors. I love Florescent Pink. This is a mixed violet, sort of a lavender, dark lavender color. I mixed several different purples together to get that. I'm trying to make a primarily purple painting. And then this is straight Diox Purple from Liquitex. My pouring medium, I switched it up a little bit today. I had been using just the Valspar, and it works good with just the Valspar. I've made several videos on it, and the Valspar is great. But there was so much hoopla about the Dynasty that, out of curiosity, I got me a can of this expensive Behr Dynasty. Of course, the 8300 was expensive too. This is the Deep Base 3653 Behr Dynasty interior semi-gloss enamel. This is what a lot of the artists have gone to replace the Behr 8300. So I used a recipe today and included that. In my recipe, the pouring medium recipe was 2 parts of the Valspar, to 1 part of the Behr Dynasty. Now, to my surprise, although I do remember reading this somewhere, the Behr Dynasty is pretty odorous. So I'm very sensitive to strong smell, so I had to put on a mask in order to open the can and use it. But I don't smell it now that I've got it mixed up with the other paints. But that was my pouring medium that I'm using for today. And if I needed to thin it, I just added more Valspar. The Valspar is fairly thin, and you don't have to use any water or polyacrylic unless you just want to. If you want to, you can, to thin out your paint a little bit more. So that's what I've used for my pouring medium today, except for a couple of colors in here that was left over from my all Valspar pouring medium. So, cell activators, I'm using 2 Amsterdam paints, Lamp Black and Turquoise. I'm going to use those together. And if you've watched my other videos, you know I love Turquoise as a cell activator. It works beautifully and will go with just about any palette. So we're going to start with our little puddle of pillow paint. I also like to use PPG Multi-Pro for pillow paint. It works very well too. It's a little bit thicker in my opinion, a little bit maybe stretchier than the Glidden. So I kind of swap it up on those two. And I'm going to spread it around just a little bit here. You don't want your pillow too thick, and you don't want it too thin. That's probably about right there. And then I'm going to, before I even, well, I think I'll put my colors down first and then butter up the rest of the canvas. Okay. So let's start with this, my homemade nickel azo gold, and you're probably saying that looks nothing like nickel azo gold, but it's similar, okay? I'm gonna break down and buy some nickel azo gold one of these days. And this is the only place in the painting I'm going to use that color, I think. And then on that, I'm putting, this is a custom yellow. It's got 2 different yellows plus some Deco Art 24 karat gold in it. So yeah, it's really gussied up. And on top of that, I'm going to put this so-called Florescent Orange, but it's really more of a pinkish coral color. And then I'm going to put some of my Florescent Pink down. It's kind of funny how when you're putting these colors down and you see the other colors underneath it, it doesn't exactly look like that color anymore. Then I'm going with the Diox Purple, which as I put it down, looks blue. It's like a dark blue. Strange. And this is my custom lavender. Now this isn't enough paint down here, so I've got to layer some more up again. It's better to have a little too much paint than not enough, because you don't want to have a problem getting it to cover the canvas. And on these round canvases, I really like to have the design go over the edge. I really not particularly like negative space on these round canvases, although I'm sure it would be fine, but that's just my personal preference. Now, if I'm on a square canvas, and particularly a canvas that's even larger than this, I'm really good with the negative space. That's fine. And that's the goal of many paintings for people, is to have negative space. I believe I'm going to put another dollop of gold on top of this, which when I put it down, it looks green next to the blues or the violet. And then I think I better put another little bit of this Diox Purple on it, and then I think I'll have gracious plenty of paint on here. I like to use 2 cell activators at a time. To me, I just get better cell formation that way. I think a lot of people I've seen do that, so I'm certainly not the Lone Ranger. Okay, let's move this kind of, I'm kind of having second doubts about this color palette, but maybe it's just because it looks odd on the canvas. Okay, now let's finish covering the board, the canvas, with paint, and this time I'm going to put it around the edges, which I should do all the time because it helps that paint glide over the edge easier. I really like pouring on blooming, especially on a solid surface, better than I do a stretched canvas. That way you're completely flat and you don't have any sagging on the canvas, and everything is completely even, so it spreads out better. And anytime you're working on with a spinner and the paint is spreading out evenly, you're just going to be able to get, I think, a better design on a round canvas. I think if you're going to do a bloom on a rectangular or square canvas, square is not as bad as rectangular because a square canvas is easier to get the corners done than a rectangular canvas. But a lot of people blow out the bloom, and then instead of spinning it, they stretch it. It gives a real contemporary, different look to the painting. Real nice. Karen from Waterfall Acrylics does beautiful work that way on large canvases. Just finish spreading it out. Okay. Put the cap back on that paint, because you don't want it to thicken up on you, and it will. I transfer it out of the gallons into some smaller containers because to me the gallons are just too hard to manage. Okay. And I'm going to be using my battle-worn flat-faced hair dryer today. It only has one speed and one temperature, and that is hot. So you can't waste a lot of time blowing it out because it's going to start making the paint skim over. The black's going to go down first, and not a tremendous amount of that, just enough. But I'm going to put down more of the turquoise right on top of it because I love this. I love the turquoise cell activator. I'm really hung up on it, I'll be honest with you. Okay. All right, let's fire up the dryer and see what this palette gives us. Well, maybe not be as bad as I thought. I need to try to make some of those cells come up in the middle. I think I truly may like this more than I thought I might. That's looking pretty colorful so far. Okay, let's give her a little spin here and see what happens. I'm just trying to get this little bitty spot over here to move on off. So I think what I'm gonna do is just put a little dab of, because this is really looking pretty, little dab of that lavender paint right here and give it another little spin, and that ought to scooch it on off of there just fine. Okay, let me check my edges, and everything's off pretty good. One spot over here, and I am going to, I really don't want to spin it anymore. Just put a little dab of a purple paint right here. And that's probably going to be just fine. There we go. Well, I'm going to have to take it all back. I think it turned out really pretty. Very, 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 very colorful. Fabulous cell activity here in the middle. Spreads out to the edges really, really well. It's not as much dark purple. My purple didn't shine through like I wanted it to. So I'm gonna do another canvas right after this one and really concentrate on the purple. And then I'm going to take the camera off the tripod and we'll come down here and get another closer look at it. It's really pretty though. See how beautiful that turquoise cell activator lays on the canvas. It's gorgeous. And then in the areas that out in here, which this would be cell activator, and if it was all black, that would be all black. But see, I like using the color cell activator because then it's just filling in another color, and you don't have so many just black spots on your canvas.